I hope you're all having an extra spooky day and welcome to my channel. If you couldn't tell by now, which I'm assuming you know based off the title and the thumbnail, but we're doing a Jack Skellington makeup tutorial on my channel today. I'm so excited. There are already so many amazing makeup tutorials out on Jack Skellington on YouTube. So with this one, I kind of wanted to emulate Jack Skellington, almost like an avant-garde glam Jack Skellington. Obviously I'm not wearing the costume. I'm wearing like a black long sleeve turtleneck dress, but it's kind of fun. Like, I know for me going like to Halloween in college, I kind of did a lot of DIY costumes. So this is basically that, just a very glam version of Jack Skellington, kind of focusing on some of his main features. So I hope you guys are excited for this tutorial and let's get started. I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to wear my Jack Skellington ears just to pull my hair back as I'm doing this tutorial, but also looking at Jack, so he has some pretty basic features, so we're going to kind of just like play off those. Basically, his main features are his big eye sockets, his skinny little nose, and then his big smile. So that's kind of what we're playing around with today, and we're going to amp it up with some like glitter and some rhinestones. It's going to be super fun. Also, I already started to film this tutorial using some different products. Basically, I'll insert a clip, but it was not budging. It's still not budging though. Why is this not working? It might be just because it's old, but I used this stick from Sephora and I put it all over my face and it wouldn't budge. So I quickly shut down everything, went to the drugstore and picked up some other stuff. So it is drugstore makeup. I know a lot of times you see all this makeup and it's like very expensive. So trying to stay affordable for myself and for you guys, I quickly ran to the drugstore and I picked up something else. I'm really hoping this works, otherwise we're screwed. So I picked up the Wet n Wild paint pot, and I also have the Wet n Wild, this is their ghostly being. It looks like it's a cream. So I have this in white. I also grabbed it in black as well, but I'm using this as a base. Before we do that though, I'm going to put my primer on. So I'm using the Hourglass Mineral Veil Primer. I use this primer in every single tutorial. Most of the time I cut this step out just because to save time, but I use this all the time. Helps create a nice smooth base. So basically I'm just using that in my T-zone just to help fill in pores and smooth everything out. Also, if you are wearing this makeup out and you want to last long, what I would recommend is spraying your face with a setting spray. So I'm using the Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray. Just do a couple spurts. And by spraying your primer with a setting spray, it's going to make it last longer. And this is like my #1 trick for my makeup looking flawless all night long. I mean, I have a couple other steps too to really make sure it's like set in there, but setting your primer with a setting spray works really, really well. So now that's done, we're gonna go in with the base. So I'm gonna try this first. It's a paint pot, and this was like $3, so it's super cheap, super inexpensive. It's kind of a cream texture. I'm not expecting this to be super pigmented, but we'll see. Okay, so that's not too bad. Just kind of swirling my finger in there and getting that on there. I'm also going to dip my sponge into this directly. Picking that up on the sponge, really pressing it in and dabbing that. Okay, so it blends out much better than the other one did. I'm hoping to build this up to create a nice white base. I'm not really trying to go for a completely whited out face base. Mainly because I feel like it looks, then you see the edges a little bit more. From tutorials I've seen too, like I feel like I'm more drawn to the ones that have a white base. You could also not do this, but I feel like you're going to get a little bit more accurate of a representation if you use this. It's blending in nicely, and it's also buildable too. Make sure you want to get your ears too. I notice even with foundation, like sometimes it's a little bit different, like to make sure you don't have those edges. So for this step, because I want to kind of diffuse down the neck, I'm not going to like layer on the neck. I'm going to basically just kind of press it so it has more like a faded look. So I'm starting off a little bit thicker towards my chin and then moving down my neck to kind of fade it away. I'm also using the stick a little bit too just to see how well that works. I think this is going to give me a little bit fuller coverage. Yeah, because the texture of it is a little bit thicker. So I'm going to kind of use that as a concealer. But yeah, really impressed with how well this is all blending out, because I know sometimes these types of products are hard to blend and then also hard to make it look even too. I am going to even out my hairline so that it's all kind of symmetrical because his face is so round. Now that our face is looking pretty ghostly and making my teeth and eyes look kind of yellow, I'm going to set it with the RCMA No Color Powder. It's a white powder. A lot of the other powders I have, even if they're translucent, they do have a little bit of a pigment to them. So I want to make sure it's a clear white powder because I don't want this to add any sort of like yellow undertones to it. So I'm going to start pressing that and just setting my face with that. So I'm just gonna dust that all over my face. Also down my neck as well, because I don't want this transferring onto my dress. For Jack's eyes, I am using the Morphe James Charles palette. Mine's like very dirty and very loved. And I'm using the dark black color from this palette. So since there isn't really a gray in this palette at all, what I'm going to be doing is mixing both the black, which is the spooky shade, and also the flashback shade together to kind of create a little more of a gray. I'm focusing on mainly this being black and using that black color and using that same one shade to create all of my blending. So using one shade to blend and create different depths can be kind of tricky, but with the black, I'm going to mainly focus the first amount of pigment right towards the inner part of my eyes where I want to be the darkest, and then start to fade that out towards where his eye sockets end. So just first carving out that inner socket area, blending that into the brow. Actually for this, I'm using the new ABH black, the black that comes in here, but you could use also the black from the James Charles palette as well. I'm just using this because it does come with a mirror and it's easier for me to look at that while I'm doing it. So I am using the black from this palette, but again, the black from the James Charles palette works just as great. It's actually just as pigmented, but I'm using the E5 shade from this palette. And so looking at his eyes, it kind of comes up to a point and kind of blending that outwards, kind of creating that shape. But my goal with this is to make it as dark as possible on the inner corners here and then kind of blend it out. So essentially I just want to cover the entire lid first and then move on to underneath the eyelid. This will also give the illusion of a skinnier nose without you actually having to contour it too, which is nice. Taking a smaller brush, this is the Morphe M514. The first one was the M573. I'm using this to kind of detail now the points, the higher points, so like kind of like the edges, and bringing this down. I think I'm gonna bring it down to about here too, because again, I really want those eyes to be the main focus point, and kind of just starting to fade that out. I am using my ears as like a reference point to see how, so it does come down a little bit low, like right through here. It does come lower. And then looks like it kind of comes back up. Just gonna bring this down a little bit more right through here and bring it across a little bit because they almost look square. And then I'm going to round that a little bit more. But overall, I feel like that kind of is the shape. They're almost like more offset. And I kind of like these are different shapes almost too, because I feel like it kind of, his eyes, like on this too, it's kind of like two different shapes. So if it's not perfect, that's okay. The goal with this is to be a little sloppy. And I feel like that's kind of like in Tim Burton style too, to have things that aren't perfect. And then this is when I'm taking the black shadow too, just to kind of fix my edges of my hair. So I do have darker hair. If you don't have brown hair, you might not want to do this, but just to kind of soften it up, since my face is not perfectly round, I'm going around the edges and just kind of adding that black shadow and running it along my hairline just to kind of make that look a little bit more circular. Taking the same cream but in black from Wet n Wild, I'm actually going to take this on a painting brush that I got from the craft store and start to do a little bit of the nose. So all I'm doing for the nose is kind of starting to create more of like a point to my natural nose shape. So I'm not going to do anything crazy with his nose. So what I'm doing is just kind of following the same shape as my nose, but giving it more of a point. I will go inside my nose a little bit too, just to give an accurate depth. So as you can see, just by doing that, it's a really small trick, but it did make my nose a little bit bigger to kind of match the two little nose holes that he has. Next up is the mouth. So I'm using the same cream, just a different brush. It's a little bit smaller, again, also like a painting brush, just to kind of carve out the mouth. I am going to kind of like keep within my lips just because I feel like that's more natural. And if you are wearing this makeup in the night, it's just easier just to paint black over your lips. I am going to kind of extend that and drag that out though, because his smile is a little bit bigger. So I'm going to kind of keep that shape and follow along and bring it to maybe about like to my cheek point. So I don't want to drag the teeth or the smile all the way out, but I am going to make it more cartoon-like by bringing it out a little bit farther than I normally would. Now that we look more like the Joker than Jack Skellington, what we're going to do is add on the little, like, I don't know what you call that. I guess like his like mouth cracks. It doesn't look very skeletal. Basically, they're kind of like teeth. So we're going to create those like cracks in our smile. And it's okay to do them kind of like haphazardly. Looking at my ears too, his smile like has like some of the cracks are bigger and thicker than others. So what I'm going to do is take that same black eyeshadow. I'm going to dust that over my lips to set the cream eyeshadow so that way it doesn't like smear or anything. So now I'm looking more like the Joker meets Jack Skellington meets Billy from Hocus Pocus. Now with all the base work out of the way comes the fun part. So I know this all seemed really fun, but now, trust me, this is the fun part. We are taking some glitter. So I got these self-adhesive rhinestones at the craft store. Also got this glitter from the craft store. So obviously with craft store makeup, I would not like recommend putting this on your face. I'm going to do it, but just know it's not meant for your face. So like, you've been warned. So I'm using this on my face, and I also did get some NYX Glitter Brilliance. This is for face and body, so this is like face approved glitter. I will be using this as well. But basically what I'm doing with these chunkier ones, I want to create kind of like a, well, obviously like bedazzled look. I want it to kind of be more glittery, more glam. So I am starting off with these bigger ones kind of towards the inner part of my eye and fading them out. So it will be kind of like a, it won't be very even looking, and that's kind of the point. I will also be putting them along, I think I'm gonna be putting the glitter, like this fine glitter, in the cracks of the smile to just kind of create some more depth. So I'm mainly pasting these on the eyes and then this glitter around my mouth area. And what's cool is they have them in different sizes. So the ones on the outside are a little bit bigger and the ones on the inside are a little bit smaller. So I'm gonna pick this big guy up, taking this little Pretty Sleeping Beauty mirror. I'm gonna place that right, I think I wanna place, oh, that was easy. I think I'm gonna work on the bigger ones first. And these are self-stick too. I could be using like lash glue, but since these are self-adhesive, they're going on pretty easily. I want to use all the big ones on the one side, so I'm gonna start putting these on the other side as well. I'm trying to keep some space because I'm going to put little ones in between. I am going to use the lash glue because the adhesive is coming off the back of some of these. So yeah, if you are using glue on your face, I would recommend using the lash glue because I know that one is good for the eyes, good for the face. I think I'm definitely going to go in with some glitter. So I'm only going to use like a little bit of these and then go in with some glitter to kind of make it a little bit more texturized, but I'm really liking how this is turning out. I might just skip forward, but you can kind of get the idea. There's going to be bigger ones towards here and then kind of fade out a little bit along the brow. The most time consuming part is just getting these little guys on. Maybe I'll put a couple of the small ones in his mouth. My mouth. Like the medium sized guys, because there's a lot of those and I didn't really use a lot on my face. So what I'm going to do next is on selective areas, like right through here, I kind of did one a little bit. I'm going to just like paint a little bit of a line using this brush tip lash adhesive. Also, that's as far as close I'm going to my mouth. Like I'm not gonna go anywhere near my mouth, but just kind of do little bits of slivers here and there to add some more depth. And I will do a little bit around the eyebrow area as well, just to add in some of that glitter. So I'm using two types of glitters. I'm using both the glitters I showed you guys. One's like little hexagons and the other ones are like really fine glitter. So just to add some more texture to this, I'm going to do that right in this section here above my eye and then also along my mouth as well. I also picked up some really fun spooky lashes. These are from Ardell. They're called like Fright Night. They had a couple different versions. I really loved how like feathery and big these looked, so I'm going to put these on as well. You can use normal lashes too, but I thought they'd be really fun since this is such a very dramatic look to overemphasize the eyes using some really big lashes. So I have like one pair of lashes on my right eye. You can't really see it at all, but that's okay because I feel like in person like it kind of adds something, but like looking at me like through the viewfinder, you can't see them at all. So I put the lashes on the glue, sorry, on this side, and I'm going to try to apply them like facing them upwards. So I'm just kind of pushing them down. They are kind of big. They're not really... It's kind of a struggle. I was hoping they would flare upwards to make my eyes look really big. Okay, so now that the lashes are on, this is pretty much done. This is pretty much the entire look. All I'm going to do is like fix up my hair a little bit since I was not planning on wearing the Mickey Mouse Jack Skellington ears as my final look. I'll go pop on my dress and show you guys the finished look all together. And this is the finished look. So I paired it with a black turtleneck dress. I just love like the little ruffle sleeves. It's long sleeves and it comes down to about my like knee length. But I was gonna do like a high bun, but couldn't find like my little bun roller, so I decided to do like a fun high pony instead. Obviously this is a very basic outfit. It's not very like Jack inspired like the outfit itself, but that's kind of why I just did all the makeup, just to kind of make it more like avant-garde Jack Skellington, I guess, glam Jack Skellington. I don't know what to call this, but I hope you guys really enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know if you do plan on recreating it, and also tag me on Instagram. My name is Kenzie Brown, same as my username on YouTube. I hope you guys really enjoyed this tutorial, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!